Better feel as major financial contributor, obviously, and a political lever. What is the end game, both in Ituri and in the Congo as a whole? And when they see the proposed ceiling at 10,700, for them it's a real jump.
As far as the deployment of the brigade is concerned, and here I have no choice but to make a comparison with NATO in the Balkans. How is it that a mere brigade is being questioned for the UN? The same thing could be said about what you mentioned, Dimitri, as Sierra Leone. In Sierra Leone, we suddenly did agree to go to 17,500 because a disaster happened. So we should not wait here until the disaster is augmented, if you wish, because we do already have a disaster on our hands.
De conformidad con el entendimiento alcanzado en las consultas previas y de no haber objeciones.
The Americans, obviously, they are the biggest payer, so I mean, they, whenever we increase money, they will pay the bigger part of the bill. At the moment, it's clear that in the Council, what we need to achieve is to convince the US to make a decision quickly, because every day that passes means that our deployments are going to be delayed.
On the one hand, many of my colleagues were working to give the information necessary for troop contributors to put together the kind of troops that we would need for Ituri. My job was more on to try to convince the Security Council we had a viable plan for Ituri. And I think one of the problems with Council, and I think particularly with the United States, was that they did not see that there was really a political process in Ituri worth investing in. The U.S. told us, and I think that they had a legitimate concern, that they saw Ituri as a Somalia, and so our job really was try to convince them that there was a political process.
Juin. Mekaré se rend à Bunia. Sa mission, définir pour la MONUC une stratégie qui soit acceptée par les Américains.
The Council met yesterday in New York and have decided to give MONUC a technical rollover, which basically means no new mandated activities, just an extension of the date of the mandate until sometime in July. But the first implication is that we will only get a task force of 1 battalion and that we would not have any additional troops beyond 1 battalion at the current date of exit of the international force. And that has major implications for the work that we do in Ituri. So we have a lot of work to do to try to convince the people who pay the bills that it's worth their investing in it. There was a time that I did feel that none of the countries of the world who could make a difference really cared, and that nobody was really seeing the lives that were being wasted, and it didn't matter to them. You did feel personally somewhat responsible, because you felt, what am I doing wrong that I'm not being able to convince these member states that they need to provide the troops necessary to save these lives? You can't pull these people out now, because then it'll make the situation worse for us. And you also felt responsible for the United Nations staff that were putting their lives at risk in Ituri. And there was a great deal of pressure. It is once again a unilateral action taken by the government.
La meilleure, sans doute la seule chance de stabiliser la région est entre les mains de l'administration intérimaire de l'Ituri. Quant à savoir si ce gouvernement parviendra à expulser les Rwandais et les Ougandais, rien n'est moins sûr.
Le grand problème, ce sont les groupes armés. Et de notre côté, évidemment, on peut prendre des contacts avec tous ces groupes, ça c'est vrai, et les amener mais en les prenant à juste valeur.
Il y en a 6 et qui sont tous armés. Tous ont des parrains en Ouganda, ils ont tous le même parrain. Et c'est ça ce qui rend les choses tellement difficiles. Alors, il y en a qui venaient acheter nos richesses avec de l'argent. Mais d'autres ont trouvé que c'était plus astucieux. On vous donne des armes et on prend les richesses. C'est comme ça qu'en Ituri, il n'y a aucune usine qui fabrique les armes. Est-ce que vous pouvez imaginer le Rwanda et l'Ouganda qui n'ont pas de l'or chez eux, mais depuis les dernières années, ce sont les plus grands producteurs de l'or et du bois, pendant qu'ils n'en ont pas. Ça vient d'où? Ça vient chez nous. Il y a des individus qui en profitent, mais leur État en profite aussi. Et comment est-ce qu'ils le font encore pendant que nous, on se bat? Ils sont derrière. Alors, quelque part là-bas, il faut faire pression sur les pays voisins, l'Ouganda et le Rwanda, qu'ils cessent de pouvoir toujours s'ingérer dans le problème du Congo en général et de l'Ituri en particulier. Nos relations avec le gouvernement de Kinshasa, malgré tout ce qui s'est passé en Ituri, le peuple ou la population de l'Ituri se considère encore et toujours comme être congolais. Ça, c'est dans le cœur de tout le monde. Même les groupes armés, ils savent qu'ils sont congolais.
Pour Madame Vaweka, l'ennemi public est un chef de milice, Thomas Lubanga. Il a pris le contrôle de Bunia avec l'appui de son allié ougandais. Il a un diplôme de psychologie, une armée d'enfants sous ses ordres. Et du sang sur les mains.
The most peace processes that we're dealing with in Africa and beyond, the heads of factions, to a greater or lesser extent, are warlords and have very mafioso type of tendencies. You have to deal with them. You may not want to deal with them, and they may have committed all sorts of human rights abuses, but unfortunately you have to deal with them because they're the ones with the power. What do these military leaders want?
I think if we talk about UPC, the leadership of UPC, definitely Lubanga wants to play a national role in the Congo, using Ituri as a pretext for it, you know. So he has very big ambitions. So now I think what we have to see is to see how best we can, you know, try to see at national level what we can give him, even something very small, yeah. If you continue discussing with him, we can say, yes, you can play a role at national level.
What happens to Lubanga after he gets to national level?
He will leave everything and go.
Okay, what happens to UPC after Lubanga leaves?
It will finish. We have to exert pressure on Lubanga. Maybe Security Council can issue a statement or something like that, naming them, name and shame. So I think this is one of the aspects of the problem we have to look at.
If we name and shame, will that put Monarch individuals in any danger for reprisals?
I don't think so, if it is done at the level of the Security Council.
So that's the stick.
Yeah, and now the carrot is to try to bring him on board.
Okay, and the reason that the fighting started in Jugu and Mangwalo is because this is the resource-rich area.
Yes. And that's also a place where the two tribes are sort of rubbing each other. It's very significant that our Milobs have been assassinated in Mangwalo.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just robbery that went wrong.
No, definitely not.
No,
definitely.
I think they saw something they shouldn't have seen. That's my take on it.
Alors que Mekkaré cherche des solutions à la crise, la prison de Bunia est en pleine reconstruction. Bientôt, seront nommés des juges. Un premier pas vers le rétablissement de l'état de droit.
Was no functioning indigenous rule of law. The quandary that we were in is that we could not hold people indefinitely without turning them over to a local judicial process. We could not also arrest people. We could detain people, but we couldn't arrest people. And so what we needed as quickly as possible was for the local police, even if it was symbolic, to begin working. Now, on Civpol, an integrated Congolese police force for Ituri is part of our exit strategy. And it's also part of our strategy to strengthen the Ituri administration and to get it to be doing the work for itself. I've read your cable for options for Ituri, but I really have to stress that anything that you send to us in New York has to be realistic, based on present capacities, and based on a thorough political analysis of what is acceptable to the parties. Whenever you make a presentation to Mr. Titov or myself, start with needs, not with your desires for what you're going to deploy. I want to know the needs on the ground. That's what I want to know.
Bottom line, at this stage, everything is needed because there's no...
Everything is needed means nothing to me, Stefan. I'm a political affairs officer. I know nothing about police. I need details. What does everything mean, okay? You have to treat me like a child who knows nothing, okay? And explain it from A to Z. Can I just, with all due respect, make a suggestion? Never say you can't do anything. We will find ways of doing it if it has to be done, okay? Let's just find ways of doing it. Okay, so, hello. So basically we've got to start for purely political reasons. And not because of substance or this is the right thing to do, but purely for political reasons. I would like to start training a police force now. Okay, no, it's okay. I'll call Mr. Titov tomorrow. Before you hang up, can you dial my home number? Thank you.
Fin juin. Les Français lancent un ultimatum pour désarmer Bunia. Les enfants soldats plient bagages. Ils rejoignent les milliers de combattants postés aux alentours de la ville. Là, ils attendent. Peut-être un ordre pour attaquer.
La guerre est finie? La guerre est finie.
Ce dimanche, la population célèbre la libération de la ville de Bunia. Le gouvernement de Kinshasa a déclaré que la guerre était officiellement finie. Mais si la terreur semble se dissiper, la paix n'est pas encore là. Les juges sont en poste, mais craignent pour leur vie. Ils tiendront quelques jours, et puis prendront la fuite.